to share a really, really good topic with everyone. And this revolves around cars and buying cars and maintaining cars. Because let's face it, it's like we as people go out and we get this highly sophisticated, absolutely advanced piece of technology. And it absolutely requires financial maintenance, financial responsibility, and keeping up to date with making sure that the vehicle's performing at optimal levels. And what I've noticed, because I've been in the car industry for over 20 plus years, and what I'm noticing is so many people are neglecting the maintenance and then running the vehicle down to the nitty gritty and then saying, oh man, this car's a POS. No. The maintenance, the lack of maintenance is what's a POS. The lack of responsibility. So people then want to go out and sell that vehicle for a premium dollar. You know why? Because it looks good. Woo, baby, it looks good. Let's sell it for as high as we can, even though performance-wise, it's damn near crap, you know? So the thing is, we as people are getting scammed day in, day out by buying vehicles that look good but drive horrible. And a lot of times, the interesting part about it is that we have to consider is that when a vehicle operates at a poor level, well, the driver will usually figure out how to drive that vehicle just right. You know, ooh, don't accelerate too fast right there, and don't turn it too hard right there. We learn how to drive our vehicle based on the performance. So the person driving the vehicle, they've got it down to where they can drive it just enough not to, like, you know, really cause some damage. Then all of a sudden, the new buyer gets in that vehicle and they have no idea about the certain ways of driving that vehicle that's just about to crack at any time and leave somebody dead on the side of the road. Then that new buyer gets in and they're driving it like they do maybe their other cars and just driving normal, boom. Next thing you know, car's overheating, car's broken down, whatever the case is, it's happening. And a lot of you, I'm sure, can relate to exactly what I'm saying. It's happened to me, and I watch it happen to so many other people out there. So what this video is about helping people save money and not get scammed out of thousands of dollars. When you hear somebody say, oh, I've had the car for 5 years, I have no maintenance records, it runs great though. I don't care how great it runs. If somebody's telling me there's no maintenance records, no maintenance being done, then that tells me that that vehicle is just on the brinks of going down. It's only a matter of time. That's reality, okay? So let's keep in mind that in a vehicle, there are multiple fluids that have to be changed out. Now, these fluids are designed to help keep the engine and the components inside of the working system to keep it cool, lubricated. And what happens is that when these systems have really gunky, sludgy oil, it starts overheating, it starts gunking up, building up sludge, and then it makes the vehicle run very poorly. Seals can get broken or, ripped, gaskets, whatever it may be, O-rings, and everything in between. They start to get cooked and overheated. The electrical system can also start to get cooked and overheated. Ever see a battery with a lot of corrosion on top? You think that just happens normal? You think when vehicles are coming out of the assembly line to the dealership that they have corroded batteries? Absolutely not. Because it happens because the system is being overcharged or undercharged. There's a reason why everything happens to a vehicle when it starts showing us signs. Now, let's digress. What are the fluids that need to be changed consistently? You got brake fluid, power steering fluid, if the vehicle has power steering in it nowadays. A lot of the newer cars are having it built right into the steering column. So that's a either or. Bottom line is brake fluid, power steering, transmission fluid, differential fluid. Now let's keep in mind, every vehicle has two differentials. What is a differential? Well, it's the gearbox that turns the wheels, that turns the drive shaft. You know, like, how do you think these wheels turn? By magic? It's being done by the differential. And that differential absolutely needs clean gear oil inside of it. Now, we got differential, we got transmission, we got motor oil. In 4x4s and all-wheel drives, there's also an extra component called the transfer case, and that also has fluid in it, and that needs to be changed out. In some all-wheel drives, instead of having a transfer case, they'll have 3 differentials. So that means 3 differentials need to have the fluid changed out of it. So let's recap. Differential, power steering, brake, transmission, motor oil, transfer case. Let me think if I'm missing one, because that's about 6 right there. So the bottom line is, if somebody's trying to sell you a vehicle and they have never changed out the fluid in their differentials, which happens, and their transfer cases, which happens so often, I'll ask somebody, they don't even know what a differential is. They didn't even know they had one, which means that they never changed it out. And if they got 100,000 miles plus on it, you can guarantee that when you open up that pan cover off the differential, that oil is going to be cooked. You can smell how burnt it is. So what's the key identification there? If I can smell burnt, cooked oil, well, doesn't that mean that the inside internal components have also been cooking? You see that? A lot of car dealerships, especially used dealerships, are going out and stocking their inventory with vehicles that they're purchasing from an auction. Now, those vehicles got to an auction for a reason. And then all of a sudden, I would say 99% of the people out there are going out, buying vehicles from an auction, patching them up. Let's make sure we're identifying the key word, patching them up, not fixing the root cause, the root problem. Sometimes the root problem is digging all the way down to the head gasket and correcting that area, the lifters, the valves, the pistons. No. They just want to patch it up, get it to sound, feel, and drive just right for somebody to come over and buy it. You see that? And then a little bit down the road, you're driving this vehicle that's been patched up, and the inevitable happens. It breaks down. Sometimes it won't even start. Other times it drives so poorly that you can't even drive it. So people are getting scammed out of their money, thousands of dollars. I don't care if a vehicle's $2,000. That's still hard-earned money coming out of our bank account. And then all of a sudden, you got a $2,000 vehicle that needs $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 in repairs. Well, what are you going to do? You're going to put $5,000 into a vehicle that has no guarantee of how it's going to perform afterwards? You might as well just rebuild the whole engine at that point. So there's so much going on with the vehicle. It is highly advised that you get the vehicle inspected. If the owner is unwilling to allow the vehicle to be inspected, that's an absolute vehicle to walk away from. Because most of the time, people know what they're selling. I'm not dumb. You're not dumb. We know that most people know what they're selling. It's a POS. It's got leaks all over the valve covers. It's got leaks all within the head gasket area. And then here's the key. How many people are actually going underneath of the vehicle to inspect it? Well, I could show you hundreds of pictures of what I find underneath vehicles when I go under to inspect them. And it is a dang nightmare under there. It's got the transmission, the gaskets, the seals and everything leaking everywhere. The differentials are leaking. The transfer case in many cases are leaking. The oil pan is leaking everywhere. So now all of a sudden, there's a leaking engine. And you know what happens with leaking engines? It starts to work its way into the wiring system. And then people are having electronic issues. And everybody's like, oh, my window wipers are just coming on and off and on and off. And I don't know what's going on. My horn is just honking. Like everything in my vehicle is doing glitchy stuff. I wonder why. Because oil and wiring, electricity does not mix. And that, my friend, is a huge reason why most of the time these cars are spitting out codes of saying change this, change that, change this. And that's because the computer is so confused as to what's going on. It can identify like, hey, this O2 sensor, like there's something going on with it. Let's just replace it. People replace it later on, same thing. You know why? Because the oil works its way right back into that system. So the computer can send us on a wild goose chase trying to figure out what exactly is going on. And lo and behold, most people aren't getting underneath the engine, underneath the vehicle, and checking out for all the oil leaks and watching where they're traveling through all over, your suspension, front and rear, and then also into the wiring system. Once we identify that there's oil in the wiring system, we start cleaning everything up. All of a sudden, the vehicle doesn't glitch out anymore. Isn't that interesting? It doesn't glitch out anymore. But of course, the entire issue, which is the gaskets, the seals, those have to be corrected in order for that vehicle to still run at an optimal level. Okay? Keep this in mind. Get these cars inspected. I deal with it day in, day out. So many times people are calling and saying, hey, I didn't use your service. I know I talked to you, but I bought a lemon. Is there anything I can do? I'm like, hey, it's out of my hands. There's nothing I can personally do. That's why I offer the service. Get your vehicles inspected. Don't go based on looks. Don't go based on the interior. Don't even go based on what the engine looks like. You need to get up underneath that vehicle. You can have it drive up on ramps. It can be at a shop and get lifted all the way up. It can get jacked up. You can get a selfie stick and go under there with, your camera and just start inspecting. Now, here's the other tidbit to that. Because so many vehicles nowadays have those either plastic or metal shields underneath of them. Well, a lot of times, and this is even for the car owner, we are blind to what's actually happening. Because every time we look under the car, we're like, it's fine. There's no leaks. Well, guess what? That cover that's underneath the vehicle that's supposed to be protecting everything, in many cases, it does more harm than good. Because people can have leaks for months, even years, and not even know it. Because it's just getting catched inside that cover. And then all of a sudden it has so much oil buildup, it actually starts finally leaking through the plastic, or even like finally seeping through the metal and showing itself. And by that time, there's some major repairs that need to be done because it's been so long that it's been doing it for. So in many cases, that shield, that cover underneath needs to come off 100% in order to fully diagnose any type of leaks underneath the engine. Sometimes they have little holes and little slots that you can kind of peek in through with a flashlight and get a good visual. But in many cases, if you are about to spend $5, $10, $15, $20,000, it's a good idea to drop that entire cover. It's not going to damage the engine at all. All it is a piece of plastic or a piece of metal just screwed into the frame, and that's it. Has nothing to do with the mechanics or the operation of a vehicle. If an owner of a vehicle is unwilling to do that, walk away from that vehicle, because there's probably something they don't want you to know about. So I hope this helps you save money in the long end. I'm so tired of watching people get scammed, especially from used dealerships when they're putting a premium price on looks, but yet they forget to tell everybody about the poor quality underneath that engine. So stay tuned for more information. If this helps you, give it a like, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and comment. Let me know if there's something else I can help you with, because I would love to help you stay ahead of the game and make sure you're getting the real value for your money. Have a great one.